Peace, 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 family. Grand rising to everybody. It's on once again in the AM, getting it in. It's yours truly, Amari. I'm going solo on this morning physically, but my queen is here with me spiritually. My queen and I, we normally do the Power Couple mental fitness programs together, you know, but she had the rest today, you understand? So I'm out here. It's cold out here, as you can see. A brother suited up. You know, no excuses, only execution. You know? But hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. I sure did. You know, I went live with author of Kids Love Money. They Just Don't Understand It. Shanrika Crowder Benjamin. I did a program with her on Sunday, man. Then I had Brother Cortez Springer on, a wealth strategist. You know, both are authors. And he'll be on this Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So Uwa Pele movement is a Yoruba word, and we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. Uwa Pele movement is a ministry that is here to serve because our attitude is servitude. Now, Uwa Pele stands for good character, okay? Good character or general character, which you have Ire Riri, which some say is good character. So, you know, Uwa Pele movement is a movement where we focus on both. We focus on good and gentle character. You know, we want to help you to be empowered in the areas of your life, as I aforesaid, your spiritual, your physical, and your financial wellness. All right, so today we're going to talk about having a higher consciousness. There's another level. Okay, having a higher consciousness, you know, there's another level. As we all know, there's different levels of academia. You have preschool, you have elementary school, you have high school, and then you have the collegiate level. Okay? So in each level, just like you go to a certain grade, you learn certain information that you didn't learn at the grade that you were at. Now, that's supposed to be a level of advancement, okay? Now, it's a statement that I heard by the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said that a good teacher doesn't teach the student to be just like them. The teacher teaches the student to be better than them. So we're not talking like we're in a martial art movie where, you know, the teacher is thinking about the student is going to end up using the skill on him. You understand? To try to take him out as the teacher. So I don't personally feel like I need to withhold certain information, you know, from those who I have been chosen to give instruction to. You know, whenever I come on here, it's always to help those who are listening to be better than I am, to go to another level. And we have to remember that those who taught us, just like when I was in Sunday school, right? I had a Sunday school teacher. But my knowledge, my wisdom and understanding had surpassed their understanding about spiritual things. And so I had eventually outgrown their class. I eventually outgrown those who were teaching me, you know, because of my sincerity, my studying, me being open-minded, okay, and understanding that the wisdom of the divine is too vast for me to limit the divine, which in turn means I'm limiting myself. I want to say grand rising to My good brother, Reginald Orr, Kingdom Works Orr in the building. Yeah, I'm suited up, bruh. That's right, man. No excuses, only execution. Indeed, my brother. Indeed. Well said. And I know you understand that very well. I seen you grow too. I seen you go to another level too, man. You and your queen. I'm proud of you and Sister Tammy, man. Keep doing the great things that you and her are doing. You know, I'm telling you, sowing seed, and I see you watering the seed, and I see that, you know, the divine is definitely causing those seeds to grow. You know, I'm seeing people's lives being touched by what you're saying and doing. So again, I'm proud of both of you, and may you both continue to be blessed in all that you do, spiritually and naturally. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Abundant blessings to you both. Abundant blessings, man. Beautiful souls, man. So humbled and honored that the universe had enabled us to connect with one another. So I'm grateful for you both. And when I listen to you, I want you to understand, you know, see, I'm glad you're on here, Brother Reginald. I'm glad you're on here, man, because, you know, you are a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Because, see, now the universe is using you to give me instruction. You understand what I'm saying? You're actually going to another level, surpassing me. You know, you have a book. You know what I'm saying? Multiple books. You know, you're writing multiple books. You know, I need to start mine. So, you know, you challenging me, you know, in that area, my brother. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I appreciate you and your queen. You know, you both have you know, been an inspiration to me too, to discipline myself and to sit down and for me to write my book, because see, everybody have their areas that they need to grow in. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not a person that really like to do a lot of writing or do a lot of typing. You see what I mean? So I have my area that I need to grow in too. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you and her coming on, being that inspiration and saying, hey, you know, no excuses, execute, you know, manage your time, you know, you understand what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. See, listen, I would never grow, family, for those who are listening. I would have never have grown, okay, had I not been a person that was humble and understood that I don't know everything. You know, there is no way possible my human mind could know everything, because the wisdom of the divine is too vast for me as a human being to know all. There's no way possible. I'm still learning, even in the financial arena. I'm still learning. The financial arena is so vast that if I just say, oh, I got it now. Listen, family, I wouldn't be where I am now had I been that way on yesterday. If I was that way on yesterday, I wouldn't be where I am today. If I was that way then guess what? I wouldn't be where I am now if I was arrogant and thought that, well, you know, I have it all. You know, I just have it all covered. I'm constantly listening to other people, you know, and I listen to my mentees, as I aforementioned, the ones who I just finished praising, brother Reginald and Sister Tammy, man. I listen to them. You know, when I listen to them, I learn. Absolutely. I listen to my queen. My queen was the one who taught me about certain financial strategies. I didn't know those financial strategies. I didn't know anything about equity in the house. I knew about purchasing a home and home ownership, but I didn't know that it was a cash cow. But because I humbled myself and because I'm teachable, you understand what I'm saying? I was able to gain information that by the implementation of it brought transformation to my life, man. You know, sometimes people just think they just know everything. You know, they're arrogant, you know what I'm saying? And what it is we're ego tripping. You know, we're ego tripping. You know, some people, unfortunately, feel like as if though when you start teaching things above what the ancestors taught, that you're disrespecting the ancestors. Listen, family, understand, if they were a wise and humble ancestor, I guarantee you that they wouldn't want you to remain in the conscious state that you're in right now. There's higher learning for us, man. There's more information out there for us to gain that can benefit our lives spiritually, physically, and financially. In fact, let's talk about the physical arena. I didn't know anything about being a vegan. Okay, it was my queen who introduced me to being a vegan. And let me tell you something. For those who don't know, that actually helped to save my life. Yes, it did. Everybody has to do what they have to do. I understand everybody's body is not the same. You know, some people can't do certain diets. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not beating you up because you're not a vegan, because, see, I understand that. You know, as for myself, that's what I had to do to improve my health. You understand what I'm saying? And so I listened to Dr. Sabi. My queen introduced me to Dr. Sabi. I humbled myself. I listened. Because let me tell you something, family. You know, some of you don't know, man, I was falling out. Yes, I was literally falling out. Okay? I'm talking about fainting, dropping out on the floor. My stomach was hurting. I was drinking milk. I didn't even know that milk was the problem. I just thought that, you know, it was something that I was eating, you know, but come to find out, it was because of me eating dairy products that my stomach was hurting so bad. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that it was the high sugar content that I was taking in that was causing my body to react that way. I didn't know that it was the food that I was eating, and because of the chemicals that was in the food that was causing me to even have mood swings. Okay, it was literally interfering with my mind, and it was interfering with my sleep pattern. Okay, because of what I was consuming. All right, so now look at that in the natural sense. Let's translate that into the spiritual sense. Okay, it was the same exact thing that happened to me when I was following after traditions and doctrines and commandments of men. Okay, I was miserable. I wasn't happy. Now listen, I can't speak for everybody else, but let me tell you something. My spirit kept telling me that there's another level. My spirit kept telling me, even though I was taught that that's the word of God, even though I was taught, I was like, wait a minute, there's no way that man can know all. There's just no way that man knows everything. There's no way that man can write something without error when man is not flawless, that man has error. Man has error in their ways. I know I do. I know I do. See, some people, they want to come on here and act like, you know, they so high and mighty. You know what I'm saying? They have this holier than thou attitude. They want to run away from their flaws in their lives. You understand? But see, one thing I love about Ifa, what it teaches you is for us to face the truth even when we cannot bear it. And that's just not Amar's testimony. You understand what I'm saying? No. Listen, no. I was a person who had to learn anger management. Okay, and I used to use a lot of profanity at one time in my life. One time in my life, I was a thug. You understand what I'm saying? No, Amar needed, you know, to have a transformed mind. So that way my life could transform in a positive light. Amar had to learn how to stop fighting with his fists and start learning how to fight spiritually. I had to learn spiritual warfare. I had to really learn what I was up against. So there was another level for Amar to go to. I had to grow in my knowledge and my wisdom and my understanding. And in my research, what I've come to find is that there's no such thing as a perfect book. There's no such thing as a perfect human being. There's no such thing as a perfect spiritual system or religious system. So many of us, we get caught up in our egos. We start ego tripping. We got to get set free from the negative behavior patterns that's perpetuated by our ego. You see? A lot of us, we don't want to listen. We think we know everything. We don't want to learn. When we hear something that's contrary to what we've been taught, you understand what I'm saying? A lot of us, we ignore what we're being taught. Why is that? Because unbeknownst to us, we're being taught to be closed-minded. Unbeknownst to us, we call the truth a lie and the lie the truth, and we think the truth, you know, is the truth because we've been taught that it's the truth. But when we grow in our knowledge and wisdom and understanding, when we truly seek the divine, you will begin to understand that a lot of things are man's opinion. You will begin to understand that a lot of times a person, they'll start ego tripping, spiritual teachers, religious teachers. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself get caught up in this web. So-called conscious people, okay? You'll find yourself getting caught up in this toxic, opinionative web. And what it does is it keeps you stagnant in your mind. It keeps you from growing because you've been taught, well, this is right, this is wrong. See, this is the reason why I teach people how to have a relationship with the divine personally, because I understand it's about a personal relationship. It's not about religion, it's about relationship. Okay? It's not just about a spiritual system, it's about relationship. Listen, this is the reason why when people say, oh, let's cleave onto our African way of life, this is the reason why a lot of people have such a hard time with letting go, is because their ego gets in the way. They don't want to let that go. They don't want to let go, you know what I'm saying, of the devil. That devil concept. They don't want to let that go. They don't want to let go judging a whole ethnic group by something that a few of them do, okay? They don't want to let that go. That is not an African concept. That is not spiritual teaching. That is not something that comes from our spiritual teaching. But because of the ego, they don't want to let that go. Oh, I'm black. Oh, I'm an Nigger. You know what I'm saying? Justifying it, holding on to it. Don't want to let it go. Why? Because your ego tripping. It's your ego. Oh, our ancestors before us, they the ones who taught that. Oh, Malcolm X, he called himself black. Oh, you know, Khalid Muhammad called. Listen, there is another level in knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Okay? There is another level. A lot of this stuff that we call liberation teaching is not liberating us, it's incarcerating us, just like when we was in religion. So you went from one prison to another one. Yes, that is right. Unbeknownst to them, unbeknownst to you, okay, they went from one prison to another one. Spirituality, the root word in spirituality is spirit, dealing with the divine. There's a higher knowledge. There's a higher consciousness. You understand? What you see, what you know as your flesh is not really you. That's a shell that houses your spirit. Your spirit, man, is actually who you are. First of all, you don't need to be filled with the spirit, because if you didn't have the spirit, you wouldn't be alive right now. You and I wouldn't be talking. You wouldn't be on here typing. Okay, if you didn't have the spirit. All right. But this is something, these are concepts. Oh, you need to get filled with the spirit. You don't have the spirit of God. First of all, your spirit is connected with the creator. Your spirit comes from the divine. You already one with the divine. This is the reason why, you know what I'm saying, you need to know thyself and know for yourself. Let me see what you brothers and sisters saying out here. The divine will open up portals and doors in the spiritual. Absolutely, my brother, that's correct. I have been there, caught up. Me too. Yes, personal relationship, Queen Vivian said. But because this timing of the truth, Queen Vivian said, is predicted in the Bible, people will not believe. Egos bring negative perpetuating patterns, what Brother Reggie said. Brother Reggie said, wow, face the truth even when you cannot bear it. Grand rising to you too, Queen Vivian. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Travell Winger said 100. Queen Shanrika, thank you for tuning in. So family, this is a family discussion. It's not a one-way discussion. So if you have something to say, please type in, you know, what you have to say, because this is not about me. This is about us. You see, let me share some things with you, family. Listen, I ran into a lot of trouble with people who said they really love God. Oh man, we getting ready to go in. I ran into a lot of problems with people who really said they love God, because a lot of these people put these apostles and put these prophets higher than the one that created them. That very same verse that they quote, okay, don't worship the creation, worship the creator. They themselves start doing that. You see that in spirituality. You see that in religiosity. Okay, and only those whose minds are free can actually see what's actually going on. Let me tell you something. When you truly are a child of the light and you truly are walking upright, you can see all of these illusions that make people delusional. You can see right through all of these falsehoods that people teach. You can see through it all. Because when you truly find out who and what you are, you begin to understand, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. In the earth realm, Amar is a Khan. In the earth realm, Amar is a Santi. But guess what? Your higher self is not your African self. Your higher self is your spiritual self. That's right. That's right. Remind me to reintroduce myself. My name is Amar, the one, the spirit, the son of the light. I'm a child of the light. The creator is a spirit. It's a spiritual being. I never seen this being. So I don't call upon this being as being male or female, because I've never actually had an encounter with this being outside of my human self. But because I felt the presence, because I experienced the supernatural power of the divine. See, unlike some people, you understand what I'm saying, they read the book and nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? They just read, you know, about the signs, wonders, and miracles. Unlike myself, where I actually was charismatic and I operate in the gifts of the spirit. I operate in the prophetic. I operate in the healing ministry. You understand what I'm saying? I preached in services, okay, and I seen people healed. I dealt with demonic forces. Okay, but you know what? So understand this very clearly. Understand this very clearly. That people who have not had any supernatural experience, and ignorant people will always comment and say these things are fake, it's phony, okay, it's not real, okay, because they have not experienced it in order for it to be a reality to them. The reason why Amar knows that it's real is not because what I read in the book, beloved. It's because what I experienced personally and what I seen. Okay? I personally dealt with demonic possession, and this is not for the weak. This is not for the faint at heart. This is not for those who are scary. Okay, I'm talking about I personally had an exorcism performed on me. Yes. Yes. I was thugging. I had exposed myself to negative energy elementals that I had no knowledge of me doing. See, a lot of us, we have been entangled with things that we had no knowledge of. We are entangled with things, okay, that we have no knowledge of. Some people think that this generational curse thing is just a hoax, but it's not. When you see a lot of people okay, and the family get molested, when you see a lot of people in the family that are drunkards and that are drug addicts, okay, and when you see a lot of people in their family where they're constantly going to jail, okay, when you see poverty continuously in a person's family, when you constantly see broken up marriages, every time you turn around, somebody getting a divorce, listen, that is supernatural. I'm telling you what I know, not what I overheard. Because it was broken off of my life. And when those chains was broken off of my life spiritually, okay, then I seen my life transform naturally. Okay, my inner world was transformed, which influenced my outer world. But see, what the problem is with a lot of us, those of us who really seeking to be, you know, closer to what we really are, what you will come to find is that when you find out what you are, it will actually attach you to what you are. Okay, when you really find, I'm gonna say it again, when you really find out what you are, it will attach you to what you are. Okay, so what am I saying? When Amar found out that he is Yoruba, for lack of a better term, I believe it's Oduduwa, you know, what the Babalua Falajiki over in Nigeria had taught me what they really call themselves, because they said that's really a European term. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Oduduwa, the Oduduwa people, okay? When I found that out, when I found out that I'm a Khan, when I found out the people that I come from, and then I found out our spiritual practices, you know what it taught me? It taught me character. It taught me character. It taught me humility. It taught Amar to stop using all this profanity. It taught Amar to get his heart right and get his mind right so my life can be centered and balanced. It taught me a higher standard of living. How did I live a higher standard of living? Because of the morals, principles that I have been taught by our spirituality. This is the reason why I don't judge somebody by the pigmentation of their skin or what ethnic group they come from. I judge them according to their character. Why does Amar do this? Why does Amar do this? Because Amar grew up in the hood, and I seen people that look like me try to take my life. And guess what? Amar was a person too who was in the hood, who at one time was causing all the hell that our people are currently living in today. Amar did that. Shamefully, I say that. But gratefully, I can say that my life has been transformed because I've been renewed in my mind. But once upon a time, Amar was creating the hell that he lived in, and Amar was creating the same hell for his own family. Because I was possessed. I had a covetous spirit. I had a greedy spirit. See, a lot of people, they don't want to deal with this part about being an African. They don't want to truly deal with their African spirituality. See, some people have a form of being Afrocentric, but not really truly embracing what it is to be an African indigenous person. Because what comes along with that is the Nguzo Saba, like the 7 principles. Okay, I don't say of Kwanzaa, okay, because these are life principles. You know, learning about Umoja and Ujima, okay, and Kuji Chagalia, okay? Learning about Ujama, okay? Learning about Kaumba, okay? Learning about Nia, right? Those are the 7 principles. So when you start dealing with those type of things, you start applying those type of things to your life, it transforms your life morally. That's the reason why I say we are limiting it when we say the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. No, those are 7 life principles. Those are principles that we should live. It's an African way of life. It's not limited to Kwanzaa. That is truly the African way of life. And what we have to do is we have to actually get a true introductory of ourselves. It's too many people on here teaching these fallacies and calling it empowerment. No, it's not empowering us. No, it's draining us. Because when you tap into a negative power source, it brings negativity into your life. But when you tap into a positive energy source, now positivity begins to flow. It's too many of us caught up in all of this foolishness, all this debating and attacking one another and trying to discredit one another and assassinating one another's character. Okay? We get online and we start just totally disrespecting each other and calling each other all type of names. And it blows my mind how these people that's supposed to be so liberal, okay, is still using the N word, using the N-I-G-G-E-R word, calling their brothers that, calling their sisters that, okay? So foul mouth, because you know why? We need a cleansing. We need to be washed by the water of the word, okay? And yes, that does exist in Ifa. For those who think that's just a biblical thing, no. Because when you deal with Iya Yamoja, one of the prayers to Iya Yamoja is to wash our subconsciousness clean from the illusions of this world, to wash us clean. See, we need to be created. We need to be recreated. Our minds has to be recreated. You understand? Create us a clean heart and renew within us the right spirit. See, some of y'all don't understand. That's just not a biblical thing. But see, you wouldn't know that. You know why? Because some of you don't study your spirituality. And I'm challenging you today to go deeper. There's another level, family. There's another level. There's more to it than wearing the dashiki, brothers and sisters. There's more to it than taking a trip to Africa. That's wonderful. You took a trip home. That's wonderful. But did you go home in your mind? Yeah, you went home physically, but did you go home spiritually? You went to the motherland. You know about your African culture, your African tradition, but where is your character at? Where is your moral character? Where is your good character at? Where is your gentle character at? Where is Uwapele? Where is Ireriri? Where is good character at? See, this is what we negate as African people. We truly run away from ourselves and we don't recognize it. I'm just here, family, to highlight some things to challenge you to grow. Because I'm a spiritual teacher, that's what I do. I just went from being a religious teacher to a spiritual teacher. And I've always, even when I was a bishop, I always challenged people to get to know the divine yourself. Listen to me very clearly. Listen to me very clearly. This is the reason why a lot of them could not stand me. You understand? Because I don't teach people to be man worshipers. I don't teach people to be men pleasers. I teach you to have a relationship with the divine yourself. And had I not been this way, I would not be the man that you know today. I would have never evolved. I would have been stagnant and I would have still been in the same place. But because I came before the divine spiritually, because I humbled myself and I took heed to what spirit was telling me, my Ori, my spirit, my inner man was telling me, my spirit kept telling me, it's more, it's more. But what we taught is, oh, that's the devil. Oh, if it's outside of the book, that's the devil. Listen. Let me help some of you out today. Those of you who are on here, some of you, I know that you still churched, but I personally feel like you will not be connected to me, okay? You will not be still following me, okay, if you didn't hear a higher calling. So I'm persuaded in my mind, not being prophetic, but just using common sense and wisdom. I just know in my mind that some of you will not still be here if you didn't feel like there was more. There's more. I know some of you are hearing the same. It's so many of us today that's being called out of religion, okay? Called out of religiosity to spirituality. It's so many of us, you know, and they call it a great falling away. Yes, it is a great falling away. And also what it is, it's a great waking up. This is the great getting up day. This is the true resurrection. You truly being brought from death to life when your consciousness begins to recognize who you really are It's beyond your African self. It's your inner self that's your real self. This is true African spirituality. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you right now, no disrespect, but some of our elders need to get this too. Some of our elders need to get this too. Some of this stuff is Africans in America stuff. Some of this stuff, that's why I told you that I'm on a mission to introduce people to authentic African teaching. A lot of this stuff is a bunch of emotionalism. It's emotionalism. It's ego-driven. It's not true, pure spirituality. It's not. It's a falsehood. It's fallacies. Okay, it has a form of Afrocentric because they have on dashikis. They talk about us coming together. They talk about, you know, us, you know, practicing cooperative economics. You know what I'm saying? They do Kwanzaa. But guess what, though? A true spiritual teacher, a true spiritual person, and you don't have to be a teacher either, okay? Because, you know, that's that religious stuff, okay? But a true spiritual person can recognize these illusions, these earthly things, these things that actually confines our mind and keeps us incarcerated and keeps us stagnant and keep us in the same place to where we can't grow. Everybody come together, keep saying the same thing all the time, over and over again. Why? Because there is no growth. There is no growth. Why isn't there any growth? Because of these fallacies, these falsehoods that we're taught. We're taught race. We're taught ethnicity. We're taught about skin pigmentation. Okay, these are the things that we're focusing on. But rather than focusing on the inner man, because that's where transformation takes place. This is what we're lacking. And then we wonder why don't we get nowhere? Why don't we come together? Because of the character problem. Because of the way we talk to each other. Because of the way we treat each other. Because you know why? We're not working on being lighthearted. So many people, I even hear it in the comedic side, where people follow after the so-called comedic spirit, the comedic community, okay? The ones who's supposed to follow after comedic spirituality. Why don't you hear they foul mouths change? Why don't you hear them? You know what I'm saying? It's constantly the Hebrew Israelites. It's constantly, you know what I'm saying, a war between them and the Hebrew Israelites. And you know what I'm saying? It's a revolving door. And you know what I'm saying? The Hebrew Israelites all the time. Where is the growth at, man? You foul mouth. Okay, every other word you saying is profanity. You always ego tripping. My teacher is this teacher. This is my teacher. And you know what I'm saying? Always trying to prove somebody wrong. And come on, man. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up. The devil, you know what I'm saying? I understand some of us, you know, we say the devil because the devil is considered to be the adversary. If you look up the definition of the word, we know what the devil is, you know what I'm saying? That's the devil, and you know what I'm saying, the things of that nature. But the truth of the matter is, you know what I'm saying, your enemy is within you too. That's right. Your enemy is the person looking right back at you in the mirror. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Our mindsets is our enemy. When we have a negative ego behavior pattern that's perpetuated by our ego. This is the reason why, you know, the prayer to Baba Shango is, Baba Shango, deliver me, help me to be set free from the negative ego behavior patterns, you know, my negative behavior patterns, excuse me, that's been perpetuated by my ego. We're ego tripping. That's what it is. It's just the ego tripping. Oh, I've been over to Africa this many times. Oh, listen, man, that's nothing but ego tripping right there. People tell you, oh, you know, some of y'all going online and you learn the information online. Listen, family, first of all, this is the reason why I'm on here, because we got to grow up, man. It's time to grow up. First of all, you could get a college degree online. You could get a college degree online. You can be a lawyer online. You can go to school online and be a doctor. Of course, you got to still do, you know what I'm saying, your clinicals and stuff like that. You got to find a nearby, you know, clinic that's associated with the college for you to do your clinicals. But you can literally go to school and get your doctorate, you know what I'm saying, as a lawyer and as a doctor online. But if we say something about, oh, we found this information online, first of all, Let's deal with this. A book is nothing but thoughts put on paper. Guess what exists today? We're not in ancient times no more, family. We're not in ancient times no more. First of all, a digital book is simply digital thought. I'm going to say it again. Digital books is nothing but digital thought. Instead of it being put in a hardback, a paperback, it's just put in digital form. It's still the same information, it's just digitized. So what is this thing these days about people who research and find something online? It's nothing but a database. It's a digital library, family. It's a digital library. You just went to the library to find a book, and I just went online to find the same information that you got in hard copy. But see, again, ego tripping. Ego tripping. Ego tripping. Oh, you Negroes finding this information online. And I'm thinking to myself, you could get a college degree online. What about somebody who buys a digital book and they're reading it online? People have websites, and you could go to their websites and they have information that is accurate information on their pages for you to do research and to find information. That's what it's there for you to go there, and so you can get information. But again, ego tripping. Ego tripping. Our ego causes us to sound like we're not educated, because that's simple common sense. And you may say, Brother Amar, that's common sense. Well, if it's so common, then why so much of these big mouth people out here be running their mouths and try to discredit you? Okay? See, I'm one of them ones, I'm going to bring the fire. If the truth hurts, say ouch, because I'm going to tell it the way it is. Some of you are not as deep as you think. And some of you are not as smart as you think. Okay, you need to get your ego under control. And some of you talk too much instead of listening because, oh, I read this book by Dr. John Henry Clark. And, oh, I read this book by Dr. Amos Wilson. Oh, I read this book by Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. Okay, that's wonderful. That's fine. But there's still another level. We're not black. There's specific people that you come from. Black is a hue, it's a color. Okay, dark skin. That's what black simply means. I have a dark skin pigmentation because black is a dark color, just like you have light brown. Brown is still a dark color. It's just a light brown, but it's still dark, like my queen. My queen is a lighter shade of dark than me. But she's still dark skinned. She's just lighter than I am. So you have light brown and dark brown. It's very simple. Okay? A color, a pigmentation does not tell you, okay, what people you come from. Okay, yeah, all of us are dark skinned, but what people do you come from? Because when you find out, just like myself, I'm a Khan, I come from the Asante people. So then guess what? There comes culture. Uh-oh. Now comes a mindset. Now comes a spiritual body of information that I learn because I find out what do they call the divine? Who are the spiritual deities within this culture group? Just like the Oduduwa people, okay? Okay? The so-called Yoruba people, okay? They have Ifa. Okay, so it's Olodumare. So then you have the Orishas. Okay, but then there's teachings, there's Odus, okay, which are simply just like parables. There's stories in order for you to learn a spiritual life principle from these stories, right? So it's more to it than that. That's the reason why I keep telling people that it's too vague. It doesn't identify who you are. You have dark skin. Yes, you're a dark skinned person, but that does not identify the people that you come from because there's a plethora of dark skinned people over in Africa. You have the Zulu, you have the Bantu, you have the Asante. and so forth and so on. This is the reason why I say that we need to humble ourselves and learn and listen, because then you will be able to identify who you really are. Take your African ancestry DNA test. Then you will find out what people you come from. Then you will find out what spiritual system is associated with these people, which influences your mind, and your mind influences your social life. This is why it matters. Stop trying to hold on to something and try to make it, because over in Kemet they said, well, that's the land of the dark people. I love my brother. He came on the program. I love my brother, but that still don't make sense, because they were still Nubians. So there was still a specific group of people in that region, the Nubians. When you find out what the Nubians are, then you find out where the Kemetic system come from. Then you find out about Asar. Then you find out about Aset. Then you find out about Heru. Because once you start researching the Nubian people, then you start saying, man, what did they follow after? Then you start seeing they started follow after the Neteru. It's a spiritual system that's associated with a people. So just saying that I'm black don't mean nothing. We got more pride in calling ourselves an identity that really doesn't even have an identity. Do you understand? Black doesn't have an identity. It doesn't give you an identity. It doesn't tell you what people you are. There's something greater, family, than even saying you're African. You are a spiritual being, and I'm praying and hoping that today that somebody hears what I'm saying, and you're challenging yourself for you to truly research and to find your spirituality, because this is a way of life. It's not a religion. It's a way of life. That's the difference. And spirituality teaches you to tap into the divine and find that higher consciousness, which is your higher self. When we say your higher self, what we're simply talking about, because people speak ignorantly about that too, what we're talking about is your spirit man. Your spirit man is what retains the higher consciousness. And when you find out I'm spirit, and you start seeking the divine, and you start acknowledging the ancestors, okay, you begin to understand that you will start beginning to evolve in your consciousness. And you will start being in this world and not of this world. And that is not a Christian teaching. That is an ancient teaching that comes from Africa. The kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom is within, that it comes from the land of Kemet. That is a African precept. It's not limited to a Bible. This is the reason why we need to study, because there's more than meets the eye. There's more than meets the eye. What am I saying? There's more to you than what you see in the mirror, family. There's more to you than what you see in this natural world. There's a higher dimension of thinking, and we keep limiting ourselves because we still keep dealing with this earthly mess. Be in this world, but not of this world. What does that mean? That doesn't mean don't pay your bills. That doesn't mean don't pay your utility bill, your light bill, your car note. That don't mean don't eat any food and don't put no gas in your vehicle. That doesn't mean that. So what does that really mean? That means that you're in this world, but you still have a higher level of consciousness. That means that all this chaos can go on around you, and you can still be at peace because you understand. Understanding calms the spirit. So when all these people get mad and upset, like at Waka Flocka, when he said, I'm not black, guess what? Amar didn't get upset. Because Amar knew what the brother was saying. He said, I'm not black. My family is indigenous of this land. Now, he used the word Indian, but the truth of the matter is Indian people come from India. Okay? So his ancestors come from this land. They're original people of this land. But when he said that, people, oh, he's not black. You know, it's so sad that we're still holding on to these labels that the slave master, that you know, those who enslaved are not even our master, because that's not my slave master. You know what I'm saying? Those who enslaved us, the colonizer gave us, we still holding on to these terms, but yet we keep talking about liberation. This is all I'm saying. There's no way possible that you could have truly tapped into your Afrocentric way of life and still call yourself black. There's no way, if you truly tapped into spirituality and you're a practitioner of spirituality, you will understand that it deals with character, and you will understand it deals with gentle character and good character. You will understand that. So you truly haven't tapped in. You only scratching the surface, my brother and my sister and my elders. That's it. You got to go beyond these dashikis. You got to go beyond taking a trip to Africa. You got to go beyond learning the African language, because the most important thing is character. It's love. You think that's a Christian thing? Love is the greatest commandment, to love your neighbor. Do you think that's a Christian thing, huh? See, if you think that's a Christian thing, then you still stuck there in religion. Because if you study your spirituality, it teaches us to love each other, to spread love, to go about doing good, to do good deeds. That's not a religious thing. This is the reason why you find this in Buddhism. This is the reason why you find this in Confucianism. Some of you just look at it as an ethnic thing. But guess what? We're all spiritual beings. Race does not exist in spirituality. It does not exist. Let me tell you the reason why it's important for us to stay within our culture. Let me explain to you the reason why. It's so your bloodline can continue. That's the reason. You don't step outside of your culture. It's not racism. It don't have nothing to do with being racist or being closed-minded. No. Our bloodline will not be able to continue if we marry outside of our people. Generational wealth now gets cut off. Now our bloodline gets suffocated. It gets cut off. It gets snuffed out because we're engaging in sexual activity with those who are outside of our people. And now guess what you've done? Now you've cut off the bloodline. And see, we're too emotional about these things. Just like the homosexual, you know what I'm saying? They get so emotional, they get so angry. But the reason why, you know what I'm saying, it's such a problem is because, first of all, okay, the Creator created you to be what you are. You're a man, you're a woman. I understand some people have, you know, issues, you know what I'm saying, internally, you know, medically with themselves. I get it, I got it. But what I'm saying is this right here, the reason why it's not accepted because it's not normal. That's the reason. Homo is a Greek word, first of all. Understand? Homo means like the same. So homosexual, like the same sex, meaning the same gender. Okay, you can't reproduce that way. This is the reason why it's not embraced by people. That's not something that started with biblical principle. Our people never accepted that. It's never been accepted. It's always been frowned upon amongst our people in society. That's nothing new. And doesn't mean I hate them, doesn't mean I'm gonna treat them bad because of their sexual orientation. No, absolutely not. But neither am I going to come into agreement with that way of life. Because we can't reproduce. You can't reproduce that. It's just that simple. So we should stay within our people to keep the wealth within our people, and we should stay with our people so our bloodline can continue. This is African culture. This is African spirituality. This is true authentic African teaching, not these falsehoods and all this. They're white, man. Listen, man, no such thing as them being white. They're actually European. They're European. They have, understand, just like us, we come from a specific people too. They come from a specific people too. They're not white either. You understand? And family, understand this, man. Let me help some of you understand this, man. Let me help some of you to understand this too, family. Some of you think that because we're African, like we don't have any corruption. Are you telling me that no African mother or father had to chastise their child? For some reason, we think that because we're African and we have African spirituality, that corruption doesn't exist in the heart of the African. For some reason, we think that we never sold each other into slavery. We never sold each other out. And you know what, family? That, again, we're living in la-la land. If you think that there's no such thing as an African having a corrupt heart, then there will be no need for spiritual teaching for us to have a light heart. I'm going to say it again. Even with the Kemetic principle, we're talking about your heart being light like a feather. You know what that means? You being a person of morality. Think about it. And E5, it teaches you to have a light heart. It teaches you to be a person that is delivered from your negative behavior patterns that's perpetuated by your ego. Excuse me, get a little tongue-tied. Okay? So I need for some of you to understand this. So for some reason, African people don't want us to know about the negative things that go over there in Africa, like they try to swindle you too. But we want to keep running, oh, that no, African people don't do that. What's wrong with y'all, man? What's wrong with y'all? You have to get set free in your mind. Are you serious right now? You think that because we were enslaved, that corruption started with slavery? That is foolishness. Do you think that there was no such thing as stealing back then? Look at the 42 laws of Ma'at. Oh my goodness, look at the 42 laws of Ma'at. In there even talk about adultery. So if man had no corruption in their heart, then what would be the reason for the 42 laws of Ma'at? What would be the reason for talking about your heart being lighter than a feather? What would be the reason in E5 for our hearts to be taught to be light like a feather, or to be lighthearted? Come on, man. Come on now. You're not being realistic, man. You're not being realistic. Are you telling me that before we were enslaved that nobody got a whooping? Come on, family. We become extremists with this, trying to prove how much more than we are. It's our ego start getting in the way. Then we start making stuff up. Oh, you know, that didn't exist over in Africa. Come on, man. There's Africans over in Africa that are homosexual. And by the way, they wasn't raped by another European. Okay? Okay? Check the record. There is homosexuals over in Africa. And if you look in China, there's homosexuals there too. That is a spiritual thing, okay? You know, to some degree, you know what I'm saying? There's definitely a spiritual thing with some of these people. You know what I'm saying? It's something to these people. I'm not going to try to figure it out. The only thing I know, they all act the same around the world. They all act the same. That's all I can tell you. It's something to it. I believe it's something to it medically, and I think it's something to it spiritually. I really do. Because all these, I'm telling you, I've been to the Philippines, family, and seen homosexual men. And they act just like the ones here. And I've seen the ones over in Africa, and they act just like the ones over here. It's a global thing. Period. You understand? We just need to get our minds rid of these things we puff up in our mind. We start making stuff up, man. Stop that, man. Stop. Please stop that, man. Stop teaching these lies, man. There's no such thing as a flawless African. There is no such thing as a flawless African. Okay? Please get that out of your mind. There's no such thing as a flawless African. There's not. Even before slavery, corruption still existed in the hearts of man. Corruption predates slavery. Okay? We got to get set free from this foolishness, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying my best not to laugh at that mess, man. It's like, come on, man. That's garbage. Throw that mess in the trash, because it's trash. That's not authentic African teaching. It's not. Okay, love you all, man. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. You know, have a blessed day, family. You know, and remember, seek who you are, you know what I'm saying, and to have a personal relationship, all right? So, you know, I thank you so much for tuning in. My good sister, sister, excuse me, I want to respect the way that you feel about that. So my sister, Tammy, okay, I appreciate you tuning in, my sister. Thank you so much. Blessings be upon you. If you would be so kind to share your book information with us, you know, from brokenness to wholeness, so that others can receive internal healing as well. Because, you know, I'm so glad she came on here, because her book is geared towards exactly what I'm talking about, you know. A lot of us, we're suffering from mental trauma, family. You know, I'm ending this on a serious note. I'm very serious. Okay, a lot of us are suffering from mental trauma. Okay, and that trauma doesn't always come from slavery, okay? You know, in all seriousness, and I'm very serious. I love you all, man. Listen, deal with your psychological problems, man. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us are suffering from being raped. A lot of us are suffering from being molested. A lot of us are suffering from verbal abuse. And a lot of us are suffering from physical abuse. Okay? And it's not only the racist European that's causing the mental trauma that we're dealing with amongst our people. It's internal. It's from our own family. Some of our families are mentally sick. They're perverts. Okay, and I'm dead serious. You know what I'm saying? You have aunties molesting their own nieces. You have uncles, you know, molesting their own nieces, man. You know, you in some cases you have fathers, you know, molesting their own daughters, man. You know, that's a mental illness. It is a sickness. And so many of us are traumatized. We're dealing with abandonment. Some of us have been abandoned by our parents, and some of us been put in foster homes. And, you know, the African people need to be healed, man. And this is the reason why I'm teaching this today. I don't have time to be coming on here playing these games. I know it's bigger than, you know, racism. I'm not going to come on here and restrict what we're going through to racism when I know it's beyond that. Okay, because it happened to me. You understand? I had a family member do that to me. Okay, I had some of my mother friends did that to me. I was a child. Grown women molested me. I'm a little boy. Don't know what's going on. I have no problem at all with you know, being transparent, because transparency brings transformation, family. We got to stop playing this game, man. We got to stop playing this race game. It's beyond race, man. It's beyond our skin pigmentation. The problems that we're dealing with is internal. It's deep. And we got to start being honest with ourselves about these things, man. We got to stop being so upset with each other, man. There's problems that people are dealing with, you know, more severe than what you think, brother and sister, but you so concerned about them not making a donation, or them not coming to an event, or them not giving you a telephone call. Listen, man, a lot of us are dealing with some serious things. We're being very inconsiderate about what people are going through in their lives. And this is the reason why there's a great awakening of more spiritual teachers being sent to the community. Because our people are suffering from spiritual trauma that's beyond racism. It's deeper than that. And although I don't agree with homosexuality, okay, I myself personally, I repent, you know what I'm saying? I was wrong when I was mocking them and laughing at them, because guess what? Some of these brothers and sisters been molested. Some of these brothers and sisters been raped. And we got so much to say about them. I'm not saying you got to accept what they do, but my goodness, man, we got to have compassion. Then we wonder why people don't want to come around us. Then we wonder why people don't want to deal with us, because we're very unsensitive to the things that people are going through, and we have been cut off from being sensitive to one another's pain. We see our brother, sister suffer. Well, that's not my brother, that's not my sister, that's not my daughter, that's not my son, that's no concern of mine. See, that's the problem. Ujima, collective work and responsibilities, making our brothers, sisters' problems our problems and solving them together. This is the reason why I say the Ngozo Saba is deeper than Kwanzaa. We have to reconnect with being sensitive to one another's pain, and so we can bring words of healing to our people. We are messed up, and the only way we can get healed is by us facing the truth about the pain and about the issues that's truly going on in our community, instead of running away from it. We got to face it and bring the solutions that will bring healing. Love you all, man. Thank you all. And I appreciate you all for tuning in and listening. You have a blessed one. And my prayer for you is for long life, good health, spiritual and financial prosperity. May it follow you all the days of your life. Ashe, ashe, ashe.